to be a part of our channel, the Hare Krishna Society YouTube channel, which is recording and saving these classes for future reference for anyone that's got time to take a moment to watch them, or for new people that are coming, that are looking for the truth and they don't want to be misled by charlatan people like Giriraj. Just to finish up here, this person was in India in the beginning. Somehow or other he got this service to help Prabhupada in Bombay. That's a good thing, and he did some service. But the commitment to the spiritual master is very serious, and to accept the role of a guru and pretend and act that you're on the self-realized platform when you're not, and it's manifested in his behavior and this evidence that come out, is a great sin, and there's karma for that. Yes, there is. You can tell a child, don't put your hand in the fire. Prabhupada uses that example. Don't put your hand in the fire, it'll burn. Now, the child may, I don't believe you. Puts his hand in the fire and burned. You can be told, don't do this. Don't start to accept disciples, not only a few disciples. In one case, there's a person that's accepted 75,000 people. 75,000 people. And look at his face today. It's a disaster. His body is destroyed. He can justify it. Oh, I'm accepting the sins of all other people for this. Yes, you are. But are you a bona fide spiritual master when you haven't chanted rounds in 40 years? No, you're not. This is a fraud, and it's very unfortunate. And so these things are going on. You'll be able to see these videos and that. You can study them so that you get a real understanding on your own of the reality of this situation. And you can count your blessings that we've created this environment at the Prabhupada Disciples Association and Hare Krishna Society to tell the truth to people. And not only that, we're doing two things. We're running these programs, and at the same time, we're moving ahead to print on a small scale. Yes, we're not a big financially rich organization. In fact, we've never asked for money, ever. Not in 24 years. We do not ask for money. What we do is we present the truth. If people want to give some Lakshmi, okay, fair enough. Like we do thank everyone that donated for the GoFundMe program that we had. And we're going to do some more work like that to help other devotees to finance what they want to do in their particular countries and regions throughout the world. So this printing and publishing of books is also a number two mandate, is another mandate, not number two, number one, but another mandate for us to publish and distribute these books. And we are going to move into that phase this year. We're going to move into that phase. We're just winding up a certain part of our development. And when we get it going, then this will be an increased opportunity for us to continue to serve our spiritual master in very important methods, very important ways. So thank you everyone for being a part of this and staying steady. You know, we've had a lot of people come and go, and it's obvious if you watch the screen. If you look at the people from last year to the people this year, it's different. But everything is in a state of change, ephemeral. Everything is. And people sometimes stay enthusiastic, sometimes they don't. Some people get bewildered. Some people got to run away and become absorbed in their own particular little narcissistic world of self-purpose, self-purpose. This is a movement, this group here is a movement of Prabhupada purpose. We're serving our guru, and we're also enjoying very much, we'll move forward right now with the diaries. And I want to get that other diary, Nilesh. I haven't had a chance to look at it. I've been running and working on different things each week, but I do want to see it and see how we can get maybe another copy of it for ourselves. I'm very interested in adding it. But we're going to go to March 2nd, 1966. And we've been seeing that Prabhupada has been getting a lot of sort of rejection from people. He got a rejection from the Prime Minister's office of India in this recent letter he received from her secretary, and other God brothers and people suggesting that he can't succeed. Rupesh, if you could put up the March 2nd insert into the diary for us. Wednesday, March 2nd, today in the morning, I went to see Mr. L.L. Malhotra in connection with renewal of the passport after June 26th. The application was a letter of forwarding submitted, extension up to June 30th, 1966. Already allowed, it is referred to New Delhi, and by confirmation from there, the passport will be renewed at least for 1 year more. Oh, excellent, yeah. I guess this looks like the one, Nilesh, from the online book. So that's good.
Yes, Prabhuji. This is the PrabhupadaBooks.com.
Okay.
The Jaladuta diary. I mean, the diaries, the early memories.
Yeah, beginning. Excellent. Thank you. Did you put it up?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm hosting today because Rupesh Prabhu was busy.
Oh, well, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I didn't know I sent him the copies by WhatsApp. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Nilesh. I know you're busy. The application was a letter forwarded, submitted. Expenditure bus fare was 30 cents. And Dr. Mishra gave me a pot for drinking milk. Yeah, there we go. Chandrasekhar sent a letter for seeing the passport office in New Delhi to expedite the reply. An income contribution was $3. And Robert brought some whole wheat flour. Cohen brought the Sanskrit picture, and there was some defects, so taken back for rectification. And Cohen brought one cotton jersey for me. Thank you. Thursday, March 3rd. Today, Ekadasi is observed. No letter received. In the evening, only 2 visitors came. There were some topics on the meditation yoga. Expenditures, boot polish and a lace, 46 cents. So concise, Prabhupada. Income contribution was $1. Jeez. And Dr. Mishra wanted my kirtan in his meetings. I'm considering the proposal. He was being used by this fellow. The situation is adverse. Let me first of all see how they receive it in the Ananda. That's Ananda ashram. And Jones presented me a copper cup. Very nice, thank you. March 4th, today one letter sent to Boyd Corporation of the Rockefeller Foundation asking him exchange cooperation, meals taken at Dr. Mishra. So Prabhupada's trying to get money sent from India. It was very difficult back then. I remember going there in the 70s and dealing with exchanges when we were working as full-time members at this society. Meals taken at Dr. Mishra's. Income was $9 in contribution in books. And there were no expenditures. March 5th, Saturday, March 5th. Today I received one letter to the Secretary of the Salvation Army, 14th Street, West New York, for exchange. At 2 o'clock, went to Ananda Ashram, Kirtan was performed in the evening, very much appreciated. And the night passed at Ananda. Yolanda gave me a calendar and no expenditures. I sent some pictures, but anyway. We'll go to Sunday, March 6th. Sunrise at 6:30, sunset at 5:30, moonrise at 5:28, full moon, 8:46 p.m. Today, whole day passed at Monroe Ananda Ashram. In the morning, there was kirtan, and it was very much appreciated. Returned from Monroe at 6 p.m., talked with Mr. Majid of Tehran, Iran. Interested in spiritual rejuvenation of the world. Took lesson for more than 1.5 hours. According to Mayapur Panika, today is Ahivas day of Gur Purnima. Devotees at Vrindavan and Nambadweep are enjoying this celebration. Yes. I'm here alone without any devotee companion, not one person. But I have come here to serve the Lord and not for personal happiness. I'm prepared to live in hell even if I'm able to serve the Lord. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted that his mission should be propagated all over the world, and that is my objective. I do not mind the inconvenience personally felt. A.C. Bhaktivedanta. Is there an addendum there? No. Okay. And Monday, March 7th. Sunrise 6:28 a.m., sunset 5:54 p.m., moonrise 6:51. Pratipad in the evening, Lord Chaitanya's birthday. Fasting observed till 5:30 p.m. Very serious person. Broke fast by eating fruits and milk from Sun. 7 ladies and a gentleman attended today's meeting. There were topics on Gita and Kirtan. The collection made out of contribution in books was $28. And the expenditure was $1.15. And we'll go to March 8th, Tuesday, March 8th, sunrise 6:26 a.m., sunset 5:56 p.m., moonrise 8:12 p.m. Dwitya, 480th year of Gaurabda begins today. One letter received from Atma Singh, Jara Singh of 345 Kaladevi Road, Bombay. He is not willing to hand over Seva Puj to Goshan, nor is he willing to build a temple in New York. Saving account with First National City Bank opened, and Prabhupada deposited $50. Larry Bogart contacted. He said tomorrow at 11 to call him. Robert brought some fruits and dal for me. And Wednesday, March 9th, sunrise 6:26, sunset 5:57, moonrise 9:29, Tritya. Today I went to see the Nepalese ambassador at 300 Envoy Tower, 46 East 46th Street. He was not present, so I left with his secretary one note. Then I saw Mr. Larry Bogart. He has given back the books for examination of Dr. Mr. McLaughlin of the new Directors Publishers at 333 6th Avenue. I shall see him tomorrow morning. Then I went to Paragon. They had received 35 sets. It is accounted that up to date, 2 sets today have been taken back, 15 sets. So out of the 35 sets, these 16 sets may be made up. Thus, 20 sets remain with them. So he's keeping the books with these different people because he doesn't have facility for them. And then he's selling on his own. And then this way he's very creatively maintaining his stock of books in New York without any space to store them. I lost my cap on the bus. Expenditure in bus fare was 60 cents. And a meeting held from 7 to 9:30 p.m. 8 members attended the lecture on Gita and Kirtan, and income by contribution in books was $13. So we'll end these readings from the diary. Thank you very much, everyone, for being a part of this effort to protect and promote Prabhupada's legacy in his original books, in his critical study of the philosophy with our group. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, and then we'll have the reading and discussion led by our wonderful godbrother Yashodanandana Prabhu, who has an amazing memory and empowered by Kṛṣṇa to preach and promote Prabhupada's legacy throughout the world. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayamspat Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Sattva Smadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktamani ki jai. Sri Radha Krishna Mokh Gopinath Sam Khund Radha Khund Giri Goldhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Navadvip Dham ki jai. Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Guru Dwarka Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the Assembly. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Glories to you, Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskrityam Narayanam namaskrityam Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad Gita after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:2:4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few in Sanskrit verses, which were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in New York in 1966, when he started his preaching mission early on in February 66. These are from before the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagunara Gunatan Anbitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We will proceed with our reading. It should be noted that this reading is conducted on the basis of the 1972 original Macmillan edition. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Today we are reading from chapter 11, text 49, 48, 49. Mate vyata machabimudha bhavo drishparupam ghoramidrin mamedam vyapeta bihi pritamana punastvam tadevem idam prapashya. Ma, let it not be, te, unto you, vyata, trouble, ma, let it not be, cha, also, vimudha bhavaha, bewilderment, drishtva, by seeing, rupam, form, ghoram, horrible, idrik, like this, mama, my, idam, as it is, vyapita bihi, just become free from all fear, pritamana, be pleased in mind, punaha, again, tvam, you, tat, that, eva, thus, me, my, rupam, form, idam, this, prapashya, just see. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Your mind has been perturbed upon seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee be free from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfathers and masters. But Krishna said that he need not be afraid of killing his grandfather. When they tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly, Bhishma and Drona were silent, and for such negligence of duty, they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna just to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful action. That scene was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible actions. The purpose of the revelation of the universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the four-armored form, and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in the universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feelings. A devotee wants to offer his respectful, worshiping feelings. Thus, he wants to see the two-handed or four-handed Krishna form so he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadhana Strinam Danteridam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishtasat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In September of 1976 in Vrindavan, during a morning walk, Srila Prabhupada was having a discussion about the spreading of Krishna consciousness all over the world. And Prabhupada made the point that Krishna does not depend upon anyone. Krishna does not depend upon any temple president or GBC. He can do his work. He's simply given us a chance to serve him. In other words, the preaching of Krishna consciousness has been predicted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Pritibhite nacharadigram, the sarvatara pracharoibe morinam, that my name eventually will be spread to every town, village, and farm around the world. It does not depend upon any of us, upon anybody's position or anything. This was the prediction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now we see in this purport that Prabhupada is explaining that in this universal form, Kṛṣṇa is displaying to Arjuna what will happen in the future. That Bhishma, Drona, Karna, all these great warriors, powerful warriors, would be killed because they had disrespected Draupadi, because they had disobeyed the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, their fate was sealed. So one has to learn from these messages, from these incidents in the Mahabharata and in the Bhagavad Gita. One should not get caught up in meaningless controversies, in gossip and nonsense discussion. I was discussing the other day with a devotee from Florida how Rupa Goswami in the Upadeshamrita has given warnings that aspiring Vaishnavas or practicing sadhakas or practitioners of bhakti, regardless of whatever stage they're at, should avoid this prajalpa niyamagraha, or neglect of following the proper rules and regulations, and this prajalpa, gossip, innuendo, loose talk. Prabhupada often would be very critical of devotees engaging in nonsense talk. And we see practically when people engage in too much gossip, as we know, this is very prevalent on the internet. Anybody can go there and see all kinds of discussions, many of whom are actually very good, very meaningful, very factual, very informative. But many of the discussions are just simply nonsense. And one has to use his intelligence to avoid gossip and nonsense talk. Otherwise, what will happen? Bhaktir vinashyati. This attempt to develop bhakti or devotional feelings for Lord Kṛṣṇa or love of Kṛṣṇa will be finished. We have to learn from that. And we have seen practically so many devotees who engage in devotional practices, who engage in doing some service for some time, and then they get caught up in this prajalpa, this loose talk, innuendos, gossip, nonsense talk. And gradually, they loosen the practices, they loosen the principles, they loosen the ekadasis, and the bhakti gradually vaporizes. Now, this is quite significant because we see it in our own lives and in the lives of various devotees who are attempting to practice, how detrimental and damaging this gossip talk can be. One should speak facts. One should speak according to the Shastra and the instructions of the bona fide Acharya. Now, I want to make a point. Earlier in the program, Vishwakarma Prabhu was reading from Prabhupada's diary, where Prabhupada was expressing and prepared to live in any hellish condition to spread Krishna consciousness. And this is very significant because in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a very nice verse which describes Narayana Paraha Sarve Nakutaschana Vibhyati Svarga Aparvaka Apavarga Narikeshwapi Atulyartha Darshinaha. That in Narayana Paraha, those who are devoted to Lord Narayana, to Lord Kṛṣṇa, they do not mind whether they are in Svarga, heavenly planets, Apavarga, fully liberated, or Narakeshwapi, or in hellish situation. They're completely unfazed. And it was quite amazing when we look at Prabhupada's life from a historical perspective, what he went through in New York in 1965, 66, and the tremendous austerity that he had to perform, the lack of help we saw. For a while he was living and he had no proper cooking facilities, no proper bathing facilities, no support. We see in his diary, there are times where he's writing $1, 50 cents, 60 cents bus fare. He's accounting for Krishna's money. He's calculating, placing his books for distribution, for sale. Srila Prabhupada was completely transcendental. And devotees should understand, like one time people explained, one devotee tried to explain to me, oh, Prabhupada became advanced. I said, no, Prabhupada did not become advanced. He always was advanced and transcendental. There was a letter Prabhupada wrote to one of his followers in 1970, how I do not remember any time in my life when I was forgetful of Kṛṣṇa. That is the characteristics of a Paramamsa, topmost devotee, and a Mahabhagavata, a topmost devotee. One who is a Nitya Siddha, eternally liberated soul. Otherwise, a common human being could not do this, regardless of his level of so-called spiritual advancement. There was a very interesting incident in Calcutta in 1971, where one devotee from England went in Srila Prabhupada's room, and there were several devotees there. We were all assembled. And the question was presented to Srila Prabhupada that the spiritual master, when he closes his eyes, what does he see? Prabhupada, that question you do not need to ask. And then he raised his hand again and he said, the pure devotee, when he closes his eyes, what does he see? And Prabhupada says, yes. The pure devotee, when he closes his eyes, he sees the pastimes of Radha and Kṛṣṇa manifested 24 hours a day, constantly. So there's a big difference between the sadhaka, whether a kanishta sadhaka or a madhyam sadhaka, and the pure devotee, the Paramamsa Mahabhagavata. And one has to very clearly understand that position, because we see that Srila Prabhupada, every time the devotees would come to him, they wanted to discuss issues of Swarup Siddhi, or what is our eternal relationship with Kṛṣṇa, how we're going to get there, what does that mean? Prabhupada would say, you just follow these principles and become liberated, then it will be revealed to you. Now, this is quite significant because there are many people in Gaudiya Vaishnavism who preach openly that they have spiritual advisors who are going to tell them what their real Swarup is, what their real relationship to Kṛṣṇa, and their some kind of manjari sadhana and all of these things. Well, that's very nice. But Prabhupada did not recommend devotees to engage in such practices. He told them that you follow these principles, chant Hare Kṛṣṇa, read the books and preach. And gradually, when you become liberated, this will be revealed to you. It will be manifested. Now, some people don't like that. Oh, very interesting. Nilesh Prabhu put that verse here. Narayana paraha sarve nakutasana vibhyati svarga pavarga narakeshvapi tulyartha darshinaha. Let's try to read the purport. Parvati might naturally have inquired how devotees become so exalted. Therefore, this verse explains that they are Narayana para, simply dependent on Narayana. They do not mind reverses in life because in the service of Narayana, they have learned to tolerate whatever hardships there may be. They do not care whether they are in heaven or in hell. They simply engage in the service of the Lord. This is their excellence. Anukulyena Kṛṣṇa Anushilanam. They are liberally engaged in the service of the Lord, and therefore they are excellent. By using the word Britya Brityanam, Lord Shiva pointed out that although Chitraketu provided one example of tolerance and excellence, all the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord as eternal servants are glorious. They have no eagerness to be happy by being placed in the heavenly planets, becoming liberated, or becoming one with Brahman, the supreme effulgence. These benefits do not appeal to their minds. They're simply interested in giving direct service to the Lord. There's an interesting book that Prabhupada was translating very early on called Mukunda Malastotra, which was composed by King Kulashekar of the Sri he was one of the Alvars, one of the 12 great saints of Sri Vaishnavism. That is the sampradaya that Yamunacharya and Ramanujacharya came. And within this Mukunda Malastotra, he expresses a very similar feeling. He's explaining Masjanmana Falamidam Madhukheta Bari Mat Prartaniya Madanugraha Esha Eva Twad Britya Britya Paricharaka Britya Britya Brityasya Britya Iti Mam Smaralokanata. Oh, my dear Lord, killer of the demon Madhu and Kaitava, you are the master of the world, Lokanatha. I have simply one favor to ask of you. Let me become the servant of the servant of the servant. He's repeating this 7 times. So this is the real meaning of being a devotee, a Vaishnava, or an aspiring Vaishnava. We see in the Shikshashtakam of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu how he's expressing the same feeling. Nadanam najanam nasundarim. There's a very famous verse that is cited by Rupa Goswami in his book called Padyavali, which is a compilation of various prayers by great devotees and acharyas, where he's explaining Gopi Partuhu Padakamalayor Dasa Dasa Anudasaha, that I simply aspire to become the servant of the servant of the servant of the damsels of Vrindavana. Now, this is a very important point, because those of you who know some of the historical incidents that took place after the departure of our beloved Srila Prabhupada in 1977, there was a certain mindset with some misleading individuals, some less intelligent individuals, who portrayed themselves as successors to Srila Prabhupada, that they were the owners of the properties. This is my zone, this is your zone, this is my property, my money, my follower, my disciple, my servant. All nonsense. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu never claimed proprietorship over anybody. He displayed the perfect example of service. Srila Prabhupada explained this so many times in his books. Very important, because very early on, when devotees started to pay obeisances to one another, many devotees did not quite understand why are we paying obeisances to the other devotees and calling them Prabhu or Prabhus. Prabhupada explained that this means to offer respects to another Vaishnava, not to think that I am the master, that I am the servant of the Vaishnava. Similarly, just like we pay obeisances, we fold our hands and we say namaste. Namaste means to offer respectful obeisances, but also to offer respectful obeisances to the super soul within the heart of the other person. So it is very important as practicing Vaishnavas and aspiring Vaishnavas to properly understand the philosophy and not get caught up in misleading false ideas and false propaganda, gossip nonsense. Prabhupada used to complain several times that one of my major complaints about my disciples is they do not read my books. In 1977, when Prabhupada came to London, one of the leaders in Europe brought many book distributors to visit Prabhupada in his room. And then they were being introduced. This is such and such devotee, such and such devotee. He's distributing books. He's doing this. He's doing that. Prabhupada then listened to all of them. And then he asked a question. That is very nice that you are distributing a book. So which one of you have read the books? And nobody would raise their hand. Prabhupada, the books are not meant for only selling. I've written these books for you to read and study the books. Now, this is very important because we see many times when we engage in discussion, and our good friend Neil Shamma Prabhu in Miami knows this, because there's many different various groups there in southern Florida trying to promote various philosophies, that we do know when we talk to these people that many of them are not very well acquainted with Srila Prabhupada's statements, with Srila Prabhupada's instruction. They will take advice from so many different advisors, so many different ideas, so many different philosophies, trying to show us how learned they are, how advanced they are. But our point is, we have to take shelter of the Acharya. In the Chandogya Upanishad, it is described, Acharyavan Purusho Veda, that one should take shelter of the Acharya. And if one submissively hears from the Acharya, he will understand everything. The same principle is given in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna gives a list of all the qualities in the mode of goodness. And one of the instructions, Acharya Upasanam Socham, one should worship the Acharya. One should take shelter of the Acharya. Well, how does one do that? Somebody may say, well, Prabhupada's not here. He's not physically present. I can't go in his room and talk to him. But you can hear. You can understand by hearing. In the Sri Upanishad, Ishavasya Upanishad, there's nice description how one should hear from the Dhira, from the self-realized soul who is not disturbed by the whirlpool of the material energy, somebody who's completely transcendental. I want to make a point before I stop. Vishwakarma Prabhu made a point in his brief talk how some devotees, they seem to be bewildered by the outflow of so many discussions, so much propaganda, without understanding the fact, the truth. In order to understand the truth, one has to hear from a Dhira, the self-realized Acharya. Because if one does not hear from a self-realized Acharya, from a completely pure Acharya, there's the great danger he will be misled. And this has been seen. Prabhupada has mentioned in the Upadeshamrita that one should accept a topmost devotee as Acharya, as Guru. But many people are looking for shortcuts. They're looking for a silver bullet to shortcut the process. And what happens? Exactly what we have seen. People who fall away from the practice of bhakti, fall away from the practice of devotional service, trying to speak all kinds of nonsense philosophy and present dangerous, misleading ideas. Several times as part of this program, we have referred devotees to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 42, where Srila Prabhupada, in the last paragraph, chapter 4, text 42, we will conclude my brief presentation here. Prabhupada said, one should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad Gita as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the supreme person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of the Gita, Bhagavad Gita 4:42. Now, one should remember this because this is very important. There's no need to be bewildered. There's no need to be confused. One can avoid all the confusion, all the problems, simply by taking shelter of the self-realized Paramamsa Srila Prabhupada in his transcendental books, in his transcendental instruction, in his unrevised, non-interpolated, here we go, right there on the screen. Prabhupada says a bona fide spiritual master is in a disciplined succession from time eternal. And he does go down a little bit. and he does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord as they were imparted millions of years ago to the sun god, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad Gita have come down to the earthly kingdom. This is the same principle Prabhupada describes in all of his books. That is why it is our good fortune to everybody to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada, his instruction, his practices, and his divine transcendental books, his unrevised, non-interpolated transcendental books. He lives forever by his divine instructions, and the follower lives with him. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for that explanation of today's verse and insights from Srila Prabhupada for all of us on how we should conduct ourselves in our own personal practice of devotional service week after week. And Yashodanandana Prabhu, you brought up a very interesting point about reading Prabhupada's books, which Prabhupada, as you said, told us it's not simply a matter of distributing books, but reading them first and then distributing what we have to others based on the understanding that we get from critically reading the books. Because within the books, all the information on how to be a devotee is being expressed personally by Prabhupada to us as we read them. It's a very intimate relationship between disciple and guru, very intimate. And I was contemplating what you were saying based on the current fall downs that have been taking place in the last little while with people like Bhakti Vidyapurna and with Giriraj. And the conclusion that I came to is obviously they're not reading the books. It's obvious because these books are manuals for us to guide our activities on a daily basis. That's how you get this constant determination to carry on with devotional service in this world of Maya. We're being attacked. So the devotee goes to the manual. The books are the manuals for us on how to protect ourselves from Maya. They're not reading. They're not studying. And Prabhupada knew that even while he was with us personally, that most of his disciples were not studying his books. What to speak of these new people that are coming up with their own garbage books, like, for example, this book from Radhanath, which, as Panchagota explained to us, they printed these books in Ukraine and distribute them opposed to Prabhupada's books. So it's like a desert. It's a vacant desert. You're going to die from these books because there's no substance in them. There's no realization. There's no message from Kṛṣṇa coming through Prabhupada's Vani incarnation. So, this critical study of the books, which we're conducting at the Prabhupada Disciples Association, is vital to everyone's spiritual well-being. It's a critical study. We're not repeating the same things. We're studying the books and exposing these facts to the devotees that attend. That's what we're doing. And in this way, people get the proper guidance. These people that are taking the role of guru, but they're not taking shelter of Prabhupada in the association of bona fide disciples, they're God brothers, they're anarchists. Anarchy is what's going on here, where everybody, especially these so-called leaders, they don't really cooperate with each other. They don't. They're only interested in their own personal corporations or companies, their own personal success. There was competition back in the day. Yes, there was competition. Prabhupada encouraged competition. But it was done in a spirit of cooperation, Nilesh. It was. It was never that you were thinking, oh, well, look at how big of a devotee I am by how much money I've done, how many books I've sold, and now I'm a better devotee than everyone else. There is no cooperation in the ISKCON movement, none. If you go behind the scenes, you'll see it. We've seen it for 50 years, and this has been exacerbated by these people becoming independent gurus of cults that they've created for themselves. Sure, it's a good business. Everybody's ambitious. Everybody wants to get ahead. But spiritual life is not real competition. It is cooperation that is promoted. And Prabhupada wanted us to work together in a cooperative manner. That is important. And all of us here, we have to search deep within ourselves and see what are we doing to work cooperatively with this mission to help it advance throughout the world and protect the legacy of Srila Prabhupada. Look inside you. Make an honest evaluation of who you are and what you're doing and how you can improve your efforts to step up and be a part of this mission. That is up to you, of course. And second point that you made, Yashoda, which was very interesting, is the prajalpa business. Yes, that's a business. Their minds are racing. That's what the mind does. It has a great velocity, intensity. It's racing everywhere. People have to sit down and study their mind and see where they're going every moment with the thoughts that are in your mind. And this prajalpa, this is the reflection of the state of mind of the person. We, of course, before we take prasadam, we always say that prayer. The mind, the most difficult sense to control is the tongue. And Prabhupada gave us this prayer, Sarira Vijajaljo Tendriya Tahikal, Jivi Fale Visaya. Of all the senses, the most difficult is the tongue to control. Very difficult. And the uncontrolled tongue is a reflection of the uncontrolled mind. Jibber jabber. Talk, talk, talk. It's actually aggravating. I find it very aggravating because most of the time we have to listen to people just talk nonsense. That's just the way it is. They're not serious. So here we have Sarira Vijaya. Oh, brothers, the material body is a network of ignorance, and the senses are all one's deadly enemies, for they throw the soul into the ocean of material enjoyment. And of all the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and verily wicked. It is very difficult to conquer the tongue in this world. Oh, brothers, Lord Kṛṣṇa is so merciful. Just to control the tongue, he has given us the remnants of his own food. Now please eat these nectarian grains while singing the glories of their lordship, Sri Sri Radha Kṛṣṇa, and in love call upon Chaitanya Nitai. Very interesting translation. So this is the point, thank you, that we offer our food correctly, not this bogus. People go to these temples, they're eating the food. Who knows how it was offered and who it was offered to? Especially in San Diego, at the temple there, they have a room with like 50 pictures of different gurus. So depending on the pujari, they go and get this picture of somebody, whoever he is, no clue who these people are, who have all of a sudden ascended to the position of acharya. the bona fide guru. They offer the food to him. And then he's supposed to offer it to Kṛṣṇa when he's not qualified. You're offering it to Giriraj. Is he qualified to offer it to Prabhupada, to Kṛṣṇa? No, he's not. This is boga. This is destroying the Krishna consciousness movement, this bogus ISKCON guru system, destroying it. So how can people control their tongues if their mind is all over the place, if they're confused, misled by the bogus teaching of so-called initiating gurus, have no idea of what Krishna consciousness is because they don't read Prabhupada's books critically. They don't associate. We'd love more people to come and join us, but do they? No. Why don't they? There's a reason. There is a reason. It's because they don't want to, because they're not interested, because they're on their own path of self-aggrandizement, as Yashodanandana brought up in his discussion here. So I wanted to read something in conclusion here before we can open up the floor to our panel of devotees to discuss. This is from a Srimad Bhagavatam lecture given in October 22nd, 1972 by Srila Prabhupada. And it's so concise, the information that's given here to us on what has happened to this mission and what happened to the Gaudiya Math and Prabhupada's direct experience with them when they destroyed the mission after the departure of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Yes, they destroyed the mission. The Gaudiya Math destroyed Bhaktisiddhanta's mission, and Prabhupada was a witness to it, and we are a witness to it currently. So it's, therefore, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam lectures. I don't know if you'll be able to find it. October 22nd, 1972. And it's just at the end of the lecture.
Prabhuji, what shloka is it? Because the conversations don't go by date.
1 to 11. 1 to Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 11. Canto 1, Chapter 2, verse 11. So it's a lecture on October 22nd, 1972. And please, everyone, if you can get a chance to look this up later, you can listen to the whole lecture. It's phenomenal. It really is, gives a great insight to all of us on how we should behave in terms of dealing with the current situation we're in. Therefore, they make committing so many mistakes. Even scholars like Dr. Radhakrishna and others, they're committing so many mistakes because they do not go through tattvavit. There are so many political leaders who are commenting on Krishna's books without knowing Kṛṣṇa. Without any knowledge of Kṛṣṇa, just see their impotency without knowing Kṛṣṇa. They want to make a trade with Kṛṣṇa. That is not very good. You cannot make trade, commodity, Kṛṣṇa as a trade commodity. Yeah, there you are. You cannot handle Kṛṣṇa by your whims. Let you be handled by Krishna's whims, then you will be successful. Then my Guru Maharaj used to say, don't try to see Kṛṣṇa. Do something so that Kṛṣṇa may see you. That is wanted. Thank you, Nilesh. If you can draw a little attention of Kṛṣṇa, yat karunya, kataksha, vaibhavatam, kataksa vaibhavatam, Prabhananda Saraswati says, if you somehow or other, you can draw a little attention of Krishna, your life is successful. Immediately, how you can draw Bhaktyamam Abhijanati, simply by serving Krishna. Take to service of Krishna, as it is ordered by the spiritual master, not concocted. Don't concoct things, please. Because spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. We cannot approach Krishna directly. Yasya prasad bhagavat prasada. If you have a bona fide spiritual master, representative of Krishna, it is also not very difficult. Everyone can become representative of Krishna. How? This can be misunderstood, as all of you know. If you simply carry the message of Krishna without any adulteration, that's all. That's how you become a representative. Don't change anything. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Amara Agyaya Guru Hana, you become a spiritual master under my order. So if you carry out the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, then you become Guru. Amara Agyaya Guru Hana. Unfortunately, here we go. We do not wish to carry out the order of the Acharya. We manufacture our own ways. We have got practical experience, Prabhupada says, how a great institution was lost by whimsical ways without carrying out the order of the spiritual master. They manufactured something and the whole thing was lost. Therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stresses very much on the words of the spiritual master. Vayasya Atmika Buddhir Akeha Kuru Nandana. If you stick to the order of the spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, then without caring for your own convenience or inconvenience, then you become perfect. So we'll leave it at that. I think that's so explicit and revealing to everyone. And remember, it is Prabhupada speaking to you in this lecture. And these words should be taken to heart by all our members. Yashodanandana Prabhu, please, if you could continue.
Just want to read from a purport from Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text number 13. Chapter 9, text number 13, last paragraph. The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna, because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original supreme person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, just as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna. Simply, they are not attracted to other features of Krishna, what to speak of the demigods. They're not concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They only meditate upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They're always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness, which brings up the question, why was the worship of demigods introduced in ISKCON after Prabhupada departed? Based upon this reading of Srila Prabhupada, how Prabhupada described the importance of exclusively worshiping Krishna. It seems that some people never got it, never understood the point. Thank you very much.
Glory to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to call upon our godbrother in Dallas, Texas, one of the regular participants to this program, Dharma Bhavana, and ask him to share some insights for us as we move forward in this discussion.
Hare Krishna, of course, Prabhupada. Thank you. Yeah, this is a very interesting class today. I was just reflecting how back in the 1970s, if you came to a temple, you became attracted to meeting devotees and associating. There was right around that time, Guru Puja was just introduced. It wasn't really there in the early times. And the morning program was important. Reading the books, going on Sankirtan downtown, and going door to door in the evenings. There was a full, beautiful program. And Prabhupada was described as a bona fide spiritual master. He would sometimes think how he would be important in the world in the future, kind of like Jesus Christ. At least that's my own kind of reflections. It came out that way. And then later on, we were talking about Mahabharata, Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, book publishing, book distribution. And then 1977 came at Prabhupada, his departure pastime was there. And we had 24-hour kirtan in the temple. Devotees were taught to follow this prayer, "Oh my Lord, if you please desire, please make Srila Prabhupada healthy again," something like that. And then as time went on, 1980s, the kind of flavor of Back to Godhead seemed to change. It seemed a little bit more mundane to me. I was kind of my own perception. And then now here we are in year 20 by 24. It looks like the whole thing is becoming kind of full circle, where different circumstances are coming out, where we're supposed to understand how important a bona fide spiritual master is, how important Srila Prabhupada is to our personal lives, to the mission. And it's just like, say, for example, if someone hears historically how the great Gaudiya Math was kind of destroyed, this kind of organization is so much in disorder, it's kind of hard to understand how something so transcendental can become affected by the material world. But if we study it real carefully, like we're doing today in today's classes, we can understand how by not following Krishna's order, the bona fide spiritual master, and properly understanding him, we become weak and everything becomes material or mundane very fast. And anyway, so you're right. Now I feel encouraged that so many things are happening where it should be easier for people to understand, Srila Prabhupada's great importance. Anyway, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you very much. You're right. It's a great opportunity for all of us to focus in on these critical messages from Srila Prabhupada. We're going to go to our panel, of course. So I see we'll ask Paranjana Prabhu to speak if he can get his microphone, and then we'll move to Nilesh Sharma, who has his hand up. Paranjana Prabhu in California somewhere.
Hi, Bo.
Haribol Prabhu, glories to Prabhupada.
Hey, glories to Prabhupada. Yeah, I think happening now, there's just a kind of a congregation of all these issues we've been discussing over the years.
Mhm.
Finally, setting the whole ISKCON management on fire. They've got the Giriraj scandal, they've got the poison issue, putting a lot of pressure on them. They're supposed to respond. And, of course, the changing of the books and the failure of all the previous gurus, it's all just kind of accumulating now. And they just don't have a response. I mean, if you notice in the past, I would always have what Sulochan used to call the fire brigade. The fire brigade, when there was a controversy, they would send Rabindra Swarup and maybe Hridayananda. Two different people would always come, Mukunda Swami, and try to pacify the situation and control the controversy. They used to call it controlling the controversy. But at some point, you can only cry wolf so many times, and then after a while, people say, "Well, wait a minute, this is just happening too many times amongst quote unquote pure devotees." But we're definitely making progress. I have a friend who is a follower of Gaur Govinda, and even he is saying the biggest mistake in ISKCON has been promoting conditioned souls as acharyas. Of course, he can't quite admit that Guru Govinda was part of that whole process. And it's funny because I met with Guru Govinda in person, and he even told me personally, that Kali Yuga has entered the highest places of the ISKCON movement. So he was very aware that, deviations were going on at the top level. But I said, okay, then we should just get everybody to worship Prabhupada. Oh, well, we can't do that. You need to have a living person. Well, wait a minute. So, and then he told me he has to cooperate, tolerate, and work with the GBC guru. So, well, how can we cooperate with Kali Yuga? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But so, like I'm saying, it's all they've just been saying and doing all these things over the years. But now the cumulative effect is that everybody is just saying, maybe the emperor doesn't have any clothes. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe the emperor never had any clothes. So, but anyway, I feel very positive now. Even some of the people who have been, let's say, hesitant or even opposed to me over the years, they're now kind of softening up and saying, yeah, you know what, we're going to have to deal with this issue. We can't just allow this to slide on and on and on and on without a resolution. And what is the resolution? It's very simple. We have to reestablish the bona fide acharya and establish the worship of the bona fide acharya and establish the instructions of the bona fide acharya and the original books of the bona fide acharya, and just go back to square one and just start on the original foundation of the Hare Krishna religion. And I think more people are seeing that. It's just self-evident. And so that's basically my report now. And I'm getting a lot of little spies, here, there, who used to be this guy's servant and that guy's servant, and they lived with this guy and that, and they're giving me little tidbits of information now. So I think they want to get their story out, and I think they want to expose this, and they want to bring the false empire down. And so we're getting more help, and it's very encouraging. Haribol.
Yes, things are going on in a constant ephemeral state of change, constant change, and revelation. Nilesh Sharma, you have your hand, please.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Very interesting topic today, very interesting purport. And, the purport kind of addresses a lot of allegations which are made, especially when, we go on a criticism of the current situation in different institutions, especially those which are not following Srila Prabhupada. Here we need to take example of what has been said in the purport about Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya.
Uh-huh.
Remember, Bhishma Pitama is a Vaishnav Mahajan. Okay? So if he's a Vaishnav Mahajan, how come Krishna is deciding to kill him? Remember what he did. He remained quiet during the disrobing of Draupadi. You see? So even our own government says, you see placards everywhere. If you see something, say something. You see? And as Paranjana Prabhu right now said, that there are a lot of people coming forth, because if you don't speak up and you see something going on wrong, then you are going to face the same consequences as Bhishma Pitama and Dronacharya. Understand this. Let us further understand what happened to Bhishma Pitama after the battle of Kurukshetra. He was lying on the bed of arrows for almost 2 to 3 months, I would say, almost 2 months, I would say, Now, remember, when Yudhishthir Maharaj could not be consoled even by Kṛṣṇa, and Kṛṣṇa arranged it to be in that way so that he can be addressed by Bhishma Pitama, everybody goes to the bedside of Bhishma Pitama, who is on the bed of arrows on the battle of Kurukshetra. Remember that. Okay? And when he starts to, explain Yudhishthir Maharaj how he needs to govern, who is Krishna, and give the sermon, Draupadi gives a very slanting smirk to him. Not a smile, a smirk. Why did she do that? And that is when Bhishma Pitama says, I know what you're thinking, Draupadi. And Draupadi says that you did not speak up when I was being disrobed. What gives you the authority to become an acharya, a guru now, and talk to Yudhishthir Maharaj? And what does Bhishma Pitama say at that time? He says that I kept quiet, which was wrong. I kept quiet, which was wrong. Why? Because I felt obligated towards Duryodhana because I had ingested his food. That brings to the point which Vishwakarma Prabhu makes, is that what kind of food are we eating in these different institutions? When these so-called gurus take the bhoga to Srila Prabhupada, will Srila Prabhupada accept it? Because they are not following the Acharya's orders. So, Bhishma Pitama said that I have bled all the blood out of my body, which was indebted to Duryodhana because I had ingested that food. So if we remain quiet, and also you need to the Prabhu, you need to encourage more and more people who are in the other camp that if they see something wrong, they need to report it. They need to speak up. Otherwise, their fate is going to be similar like Bhishma and Dronacharya. So this purport is very, very critical. Very, very critical. So those of us who think that we are very criticizing people is because we don't want to face this death. We will speak up when we say things wrong and we will guide you in the right direction. And hopefully, Krishna is blessing you with the intelligence. Remember, Smaranam apohanam cha, remembrance and forgetfulness is because of Krishna. So when Krishna has blessed you with certain remembrance, Smaranam, speak up. Otherwise, face the consequences like Bhishma and Dronacharya. I would love to know what Yashodanandan Prabhu has to say about this. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Yashodanandana, please give us your closing remarks as we move to the end of the program.
Well, a very important point is being raised here about speaking the truth, about speaking up. Recently, I had one devotee who sent me a note saying that you're trying to be the next Acharya. And I didn't even reply, along with various other accusations, which I felt were a little not based on fact, but gossip. But the point is, Prabhupada expects us not to remain silent. And let me give an example. In the early 1970s, there was an incident in New York where a devotee was involved with a Japanese lady, and she ended up cooking chicken in the kitchen. When Prabhupada found out about it, he was very upset. And basically, he formed a committee to investigate the facts of what had taken place. And Prabhupada criticized one senior devotee. Why is it that you did not protest this, that you did not correct this? Why is it that I have to be involved when you should have spoken up immediately? And this point raised by Neil Prabhu is very important. Devotees have to wake up, not accept any kind of nonsense idea, nonsense statement, and nonsense behavior, and just go along with it. They have to go back to Prabhupada's instruction, take shelter of Prabhupada, and refute all this nonsense. Because sometimes on this program, we hear comments, oh, you too are always criticizing this. No, we're not criticizing. We are fact-finding what is going on to preserve Prabhupada's legacy and the integrity and purity of his teachings. And if somebody, well, who gave you that position? Prabhupada gave that position to every one of his disciples and followers, not just to two of us, to everyone. It's everyone's responsibility to read his books and protest if they see some nonsense. Bring it out, speak out. This is very important. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned this in one of his writings, that the duty of a Vaishnava is to root out the impurities in the Sampradaya, the non-followers, the pseudo-followers, the Sahajya followers who are misrepresenting the teachings. This is very important. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for participating today. We all carry, Prabhupada said, my disciples, all of my disciples carry my legacy. So he has empowered all of us to protect the disciplic succession and the wonderful opportunity that all of us have to study and learn. How can you become expert if you don't practice? You can't. Expertise comes by practice, and practice is in the careful reading of Prabhupada's books and participation in our programs. We do insist that people come to our programs on a regular basis if they're interested in initiation. If you want to become a Prabhupada disciple, through our organization of devotees, you have to attend the classes. If you don't come to the classes, it speaks for itself, for us, that you're not interested. You're really not interested in being, you're going to some class, you're going to do something with your time, but it's not this. And so, it's not something that reflects well on your seriousness, how serious you are. So initiation is important for people. And if you want to discuss initiation with us, we're open for discussion. Anyone can reach us at any time. They just have to be interested, seriously interested in this process of Krishna consciousness. So thank you, everyone, for being a part of the program today. And carry on reading. I'm reading ahead with the Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita, I'm on chapter 17. Very, very enlivening. I started reading a couple of months ago and keep going through it, and it's just so inspirational. And along with that, attending all these programs that we're having, it's so helpful to keep us fixed up in Krishna consciousness. That's a term that we use, how to be fixed. And chant your rounds every day. And follow the regulated principles, and then the magic will happen. It's a recipe of success, Panchagoda. It's the recipe of success. And it's not difficult. It's difficult for the crooked. Simple for the simple, and difficult for the crooked, Prabhupada would say. So let's finish up our program with the chanting of Hare Krishna, with Prabhupada leading by his bongo drum. So stay on, chant along. It's only, I'm going to say it again, 2.5 minutes long. It may seem like a long time, but it's only a couple of minutes in your 24-hour day. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in the program. Thanks Neil Sharma Prabhu in Miami, Florida. Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Gorichisa Devidasi in Montreal, Canada. And we have our good friend Vijay Pandit in Italy, from some location in Italy near the ocean somewhere. We have Pran Mohini in Texas, and our good friend in San Diego, California, Kṛṣṇa Kata, who along with Vishwakarma is spearheading the program to get the reprinting of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Again, thanks everyone for participating. Rupesh Prabhu in Mumbai. And we all welcome you to come tomorrow morning, Sunday morning at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 o'clock a.m. Miami time and Hamilton, Ontario time. We'll see you all in the morning. And Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his wonderful transcendental literatures. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.